So we'll just work some of these. You can put all of these together, right? So this is a speed. This is an example of a 3-point with just a speed break. Okay, I mean a speed release. So all we've done is open up, run, but you can see he dipped that shoulder. We talk about all the time, guys try to hit your chest and shoulder when they try to knock you off. Well, what do we want to do? Change their target, right? So we're going to open up and run, okay, to get underneath the defender and get back on our white line. Good example right here, okay? You can see he doesn't have anything in front of him. There is no reason to take false steps on this. Just open up and go, okay? It seems like it's a simple thing, but it's a big thing, right? He's got to know right now I can just roll. I can get downfield as fast as I can. That's a true speed release to get to my corner route. Now I'm in a 2-point. A lot of the times in fullback positions, we're uncovered on the first level, so we get to speed release quite a bit. So you can see it right here. We're trying to get to the third level as quick as possible. There he does. He opens up, depth and direction, gets a little width, but then he gets vertical as fast as possible, right, to get to the second level. Okay? If you have arches, okay, a lot of the times you don't need all this equipment, but if you do have it, an arch is a really good way for guys to understand how to dip and stay low on a speed release. So a really good example right here, to be able to get low, to dip that shoulder. You can see he missed the target, right? His guy missed, and he swipe with that off arm, and dip and rip. The rip clears the hands off. So the arch is really good. You can always add a ball onto these. So again, at tight end, we don't have a lot of time. So what do we have to do? We have to get our releases, but then we also don't want to spend 5 minutes on releases and not catch the ball, right? So you can always do this. Just add it to other drills. If you have a breaking point drill, start it with a stance and start and a misdirection release, right? So here's a speed release. All we're doing now, he's swipe, dip, and rip, getting to the second level, and now we're just running a route. So it's a way to be more efficient with your time at tight end because you just don't get a ton, right? So we did speed release. Now we're doing misdirection. Okay, I call these crayons the hand shields. You can just do it with your hands. Put your hands together like this, and you'll be able to get hit a couple times. You'll be fine, I promise. All right. So right here, now this is where we take a jab step. Boom, influence the defender into that C gap, and then you see it swipe dip. Right, he swipes those hands and then uses his shoulder and his body to rip through to clear the defender to stay on his white line. Right, so you can use these misdirections. Really good look right here. So you can misdirection. There you go. We've been cutting off the backside C gap all game. Okay, this guy is going to be absolutely hell-bent on making sure that he's in that C gap. Well, now all we have to do, we know that. So instead of going straight down the middle of this defender and let him put hands on, watch what this does. This first step, it just it stalls him for a minute, and then what's he got to do? He's got to get back out into his rush. Right, so it's just a quick jab, get vertical. You can see he wanted to use his hands, didn't end up having to, but it gets you to that second level on the dig. Another good look right here. Not just misdirections on the inside. Okay, sometimes you have a stand-up Sam or a 9 technique. Well, shoot, what's his gap integrity? It's the contained D gap, right? We'll use that against him. When you step this way, what's he going to do? He's not going to get reached on any run game. Okay, so a quick step, and all that did was take 43, put him out in the flat, and they gave us a free rein in between 49 and 43 to get over the ball, okay, to get us a first down. Really good look at a very simple thing, but you got to work it. You got to jab, and then you got to get into your route. Good job by Gavin right there. So again, you don't always have time, right? So here we go. We just add a ball, add a route, add breaking point. Do breaking point and first level together. Okay, like I said a minute ago, you don't need to work on stance and start. If their stance and start's crappy in this, you've worked it, right? You got to make sure they get it right. But that's just a good look right there of just getting a ball on them while you do this. Okay, misdirection right there, boom. Now we add a breaking point and we add a route, okay, and a catch. Just a good example of trying to get as much as we can in as possible. I mentioned the open step, right? So the open, we've got the speed release, we've got the misdirection, we've got an open. The open step is important because, okay, in order to get to the flat, anytime that we're affecting the flat, we want to get as much width while we gain depth as possible, right? So we have a 3-yard arrow route or a 5-yard arrow route. We're going to get our eyes right on the sideline. We're going to open up our hip to that angle, and we're going to gain width as we gain depth, okay? It's really infuriating how easy this is, but how many guys will just open up and run down the line of scrimmage when they have a 3 to 5 yard flat route. Okay, so we have to work it. There's the open step, okay? And then we got to gain distance as we gain width. Right there, okay? And again, you can always add a ball to it. Where it's important, let's say you have a 9 technique over the top of you. You got to be able to use your hands on that as well. But a good look right here, just opening up. Okay, you can use it this ends up being part of the pass game for the screens, but it's the same steps, right? Getting to the flat. You do it out of a fullback stance, right? Open step, get to the flat. You can see he's gained his depth while he gains distance, okay, to end up running the whip route. So that's your open step. Now, what can happen? You can get an old school underfront where you get a Sam, okay, or a 9 technique who disrupts your route, okay? Anytime that we're running underneath routes, so like a flat route or an arrow route, that is the underneath part of the route. We need to stay underneath defenders. We cannot run an arrow route over top of this 9 technique. We have to negotiate him or the Sam linebacker, obviously, who's playing us man. We've got to be able to open up and dip and rip through. Really good hands by Mitch right here. Boom, boom, right? Swipe, and then he dipped and ripped that right arm through to get to his depth and direction onto the flat route. So a good look at it here, okay? We've got to open up, right? We're getting out to the flat. This guy just flies over the top, and that's fine just as long as our hands are ready, and then we can get our depth and direction on our wheel route. End up getting disrupted right there, but it's a good look, okay? The other thing that you can always work are some of these nakeds, right? We'll do some bump flats, things like that, right? I won't spend as much time on that because that's more for a play action game. And also you can work there are releases where you chip, right? You chip and then get out. So those are always things that you can work. Just a good look at a chip, okay? My guy's not coming. I can chip out and then get out to the flat on our checkdowns, okay? Some of the looks of that. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time. All right, so you've gone through the first level. We got through the 6 technique, okay? We got through some press. I didn't go through press as much as I would a receiver because tight ends, frankly, don't see press very often. We'll work it maybe once a fall camp where I'll tell you, hey, if you're ever out there in a spread position and that guy presses you up, here's what we've got to do. We'll go through it. If we go going into the week where they press the inside lanes or outside lanes with the tight ends, we'll work it more on our indie. But for this, I'm talking tight end play. We just don't get that as much to even waste your time with it in this. Okay, so now we've gotten through the 6 technique. We've gotten past, right, the first level of the defense. Now we're entering the second level, okay, linebacker level, 5 to 6 yards, okay? So our job on the second level is to create leverage, right? We have to do a really good job of making sure that we keep the integrity of our route. One, we got to go as fast as we can. Speed is always critical, okay? Speed is always number one. We run all of our routes on our offense, UTSA, expecting man. Why? Because that decision, you cannot react to man. If you don't know that it's man and you sit down because you feel like it's zone, you can't get back on your route, right? So we're going to run every route expecting man. And then when we see guys buzz out, we're going to react to zone. We're going to be able to sit down and do those things in those routes that we now have to make decisions on, okay? We want to run every route on a man. When we're uncovered, that's rare at tight end. That means something's kind of either coming to us, going to be closed up, right? So we want to be able to stem a guy right over the top of him. We want to run every route on a man, meaning we want to stem a guy, right? A safety or a linebacker to give ourselves a 3-way go. Stem him to get outside leverage. That's what we're talking about when we talk about stem. Speed. Get defenders off their grass. Nothing scares the defender more than a guy going full speed, right? Because now he doesn't get time to react. He's got to go right now. He's got to make a decision on whatever he's doing, okay? And then our head up stem, that's our 3-way go. Our second, so that's stem and speed. Stem means this is the direction of the route needs to go. I'm going to stem a defender head up, or I need to take an outside release or inside release based on our spacing of our route concept.